So then. Okay, so for number 24, we got to decide if we want to get rid of sine or cosine. There's one equation that relates sine and cosine together, and that's the Pythagorean theorem. Let me make sure you guys remember it. Sine squared x plus cosine squared x equals uno. So if your trig function is squared, you can probably sub them out with the Pythagorean identity, with a Pythagorean identity. And so it looks like we could take this guy out. So we have to get sine squared alone over here. In order to do that, you got to subtract cosine squared from both sides, and you would get 1 minus cosine squared equals sine squared. Ooh. So now let's do it. 2 times 1 minus cosine squared x. And then I have 2 plus cosine x. So that's how you get started. To finish this, you got to get everything on the same side, because it has to equal 0 first. And then you factor. Then you set your factors equal to 0, so on and so forth. You want to just do it, right? Yeah, you do. Okay, so let's subtract, or let's distribute this 2 really quick. So we get 2 minus cosine squared x equals 2 plus cosine x.
Would it be 2 minus 2 cosine?
Oh yeah, thank you. There should be another 2 right there, because we got to multiply it to each of those. Okay, and then I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. Peace out 2, and subtract 2 from here. Oh, that 2 went away too. Oh yeah. Okay, and then I'm going to subtract cosine x from both sides. So now I have negative 2 cosine squared x minus cosine x equals 0, because there's nothing left over there. So in order to factor this is a simple factoring one, because you just have to take the greatest common factor out of both of those. I'm going to take negative cosine x out. So if I divide this term right here by negative cosine x, what would I get? I would get 2 cosine x. And then if I divide this one right here by cosine x, I would get negative 1. Remember, it was negative cosine x, so negative divided by negative is a positive. So there you have it, students. I have 2 factors that are multiplying to give me 0, and you know what that means. That means you guys can set each of those factors equal to 0 to find your final answer. So let's go ahead and do it. Do it to it. So I have cosine x equals 0. And then this is 2 cosine x plus 1 equals 0. This is going to be cosine x equals negative 1/2. And this one's going to be cosine x equals 0. So where does cosine x equal 0 on our unit circle? Think back, way back in the time. Where does x equal 0 on my unit circle?
Right here and right here.
So that is pi over 2. And this spot is 3 pi over 2. There you have it. You got our 2 answers there. And so over here we're going to write x equals pi over 2 and 3 pi over 2. Now we don't have to do that thing where we go like plus 2 pi n, because we don't have to add the period, because it gives us an interval right here. So those are 2 of our answers. What do we get for these guys? For this one, where does cosine equal negative 1/2? Negative 1/2. That's on this side, one of these 2 quadrants. Right here is one of them, and right here is the other one. What is this angle right here? You guys remember this? Yeah, this one's 2 pi over 3, and what's this one going to be? This would be 3 pi over 3 right here, so this would be 4 pi over 3. Boom, there's your other 2 answers, 2 pi over 3 and 4 pi over 3. So x equals 2 pi over 3, and then we have 4 pi over 3.